good afternoon, evening, whatever it may be. This time on what I'm kind of terming the discussion section of the channel, where I'm not teaching you something that's in a book. I'm not, showing you a procedure or how to accomplish a task. Here, this section, this playlist, we're going to be asking a question, thought-provoking question, or kind of doing some research of our own, sorting through the piles of research floating out there, and trying to come to a decent conclusion. Conclusions that I may be wrong in making. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say about it. But tonight I'm going to be talking about the age-old debate: red fire truck versus lime green, fluorescent orange, or yellow, or whatever color you want it to be. And does it make a difference for safety, visibility? Does it play into traffic accidents? That sort of thing. And unlike previous videos I've done, I found quite a lot of solid research into this topic that we're going to dig through and talk about, and some interesting findings that I found in these studies. And so we're going to try and answer if red is better than yellow, if the yellow is better than the red, if it doesn't matter, or if it does, how much of a difference does it make? And another point, as a little teaser: fluorescent orange, like traffic sign, like construction sign orange. We're going to come back to this color because it actually comes up by name pretty much. That's it for the slideshow. No one likes slideshows. So, right. This is the report that if you've seen my video on lighting and LEDs and all that, same report, different section. So, what this says... Oh, and up here if you want to pause and read. This basically just tells you why fluorescence is brighter, more flashy than just a regular paint color. There's science behind it. We're not really worried about the why. We're just worrying about the effects, right? So, the specific color choice may or may not be important with respect to fluorescence, perhaps depending on background characteristics. Oh, and if you want to go find this whole report, it's up here in the corner. Depending on background characteristics. Right. So basically what that says is, if you're picking a fluorescent with respect to fluorescence, whether you're doing orange or lime green or a banana yellow or some fluorescent color, right? There's no definitive answer on if what color you pick, whether it be the orange or the yellow or what have you, according to this study. It may depend more on background characteristics. Are you in, an area where there's a lot of yellow or a lot of orange? The whole point of painting your fire apparatus a color is for more or less contrast, right? You want it to stand out, when you're on the side of a highway or responding down the road, you want it to stand out. That's what the lights are for. That's what the sirens are for. That's why you put, the reflective chevrons on the back or on the bumper or whatever you do. That's the whole point of why it's fitted out the way it's fitted out. However, in a study, the fluorescent yellow was found to be best detected, and fluorescent orange was found to be the best recognized against any of the three backgrounds. So, basically what it says is the yellow was best detected. Driving down the road, however they did this test, it was the easiest for someone to go, hey, that's fluorescent yellow over there. What's that? Oh, a fire truck or an ambulance or whatever the test was based off of. It was the one that was easiest for the eye to catch and go, hey, look at that, pretty much. And orange was found to be the best recognized against any of the three backgrounds. Which means it did more than just catch the eye, right? It was a case of, hey, that's fluorescent orange. That's a specific color that I can see specifically against the backgrounds. Probably like a light background, a dark background, simulating daylight, nighttime, that kind of thing. From what I would assume. A recent study of traffic safety garments. Okay, so this is like your reflective vest that you wear on the side of the highway, right? Not what we're talking about. Although that may be a good one for another time. So basically, what this says is fluorescent is better than just like a flat, fire engine red kind of thing. And yellow or orange may or may not play a part, according to this article. Pros and cons to both. Next article. This is this guy. From either down here, these researchers. Researchers and volunteer firefighters, so people who both, study colors and accidents, and people who, do the job, if you will, were aware of the perceptual differences. Oh, and this is what I was talking about earlier, at the beginning. Where some colors are easier to see at night. Where green-yellow, like those lime green engines that we're talking about, are better seen under dim, dusk, street light conditions versus a red. And that it was also concluded that fluorescent colors, whether it be the yellow, green, or the orange, are the easiest also in daylight. So low light and daylight, they stand out better. They're a little better at night, not ideal conditions. So these researchers analyzed data from Dallas, because apparently they started replacing red apparatus with lime yellow, with white. And then later on, they started going red with white. So first they were red, then they went to the yellow-white two-tone, and then they went red and white two-tone. And they found that apparatus-involved incidents maybe is 3 times greater for red or the red and white combination compared to the yellow/yellow-white. And it also showed that when the yellow, lime green, and white vehicles were involved in accidents, the likelihood of an injury or towaway damage was less than red or white. And that a study, also by the same people, involving 9 cities and a lot of fire vehicle trips, found that the yellow was half as likely as red to be involved in intersection accidents, which is, the dreaded coming up on a traffic light or a stop sign or something where you're crossing traffic. Although, this is one of those qualifiers, because I'm trying to provide all the facts here. A study did confirm that the yellow, green, or the orange may increase visibility. They also determined that recognizing the vehicle was more important than the actual color. So, if a department, let's say, I don't know, whatever department you want to be, if all their trucks have always been red, and all the trucks around are red, and everyone's only ever seen red fire trucks running around, if suddenly they switched or started rolling out lime green fire engines, or trucks or ambulances or what have you, it may not be recognized as a fire truck. And it wouldn't have the same conspicuous, stick out, noticeability as intended. Which makes sense. If fire trucks are red where you live, or fire trucks are white where you live, or whatever color they are where you live, if lime green fire trucks started showing up, there'd be a learning curve, right? It'd be out of the norm. You wouldn't it wouldn't be something you were attuned to. Now, a question I want to know related to this study is how long did it take for the benefits to show up? Because I'll grant them, when the first lime green fire truck shows up in town, there's going to be a learning curve for people to figure out, all right, there's lime green fire trucks running around now. Something to, pay attention to. But is it 6 months before people start going, okay, lime green, and the benefits start appearing, like other research says? Or is it a year or 2 years? Because clearly, at least so far, lime green is more effective, more visible than the red. And my biggest question so far is how long during this transition, this recognition phase, was it before that yellow-green, visibility started playing in the favor of the color versus the new and unusualness of it? And they also qualify that color is not the only important factor. It is a factor so far, but effective reflective striping, the chevrons, all that other stuff plays into it, obviously. It all comes together in one package. And to wrap this up, this is from Firehouse magazine. This references pretty much the same review of the same study, the same numbers. So this is the same study, the Dallas, Texas one that we just talked about. I wanted to find this chart again after I'd first seen it because this is accidents per 100,000 runs, which is a lot more than I see. This is, if you're a small, city department, you may see, or at least around where I live, 2,000, maybe 3 in a year if you're really being hammered on. And that's, one station, 2 station kind of stuff, but that puts in perspective, at least for me, that's a lot of runs. For all types of accidents, red was, we're going to round here, about, I don't have to round, 10.4. So out of the accidents per 10,000, 100,000 runs, 10.4 of all of the accidents were involving red, and 3 accidents per this amount were with lime green, or by extension, fluorescent colors, the orange, what have you. Daytime accidents running lights and sirens. This would be your intersections, your someone pulling out in front of you, that kind of thing. 7.2 were red apparatus, and 2.2 were lime green. Oh, look, I lied. Intersection is its own category. Learning together. But same exact numbers. 7.2 of apparatus intersections, or apparatus accidents and an intersection. Red ones, 7.2. Lime green, 2.2. This is where I found actually the most interesting over here. 6.5 of these accidents per 100,000 that required tow away, or that had tow away damage, which means it's not a fender bender, it's not a paint scrape. The truck was out of commission enough to warrant the wrecker coming and towing it away to the repair shop or the junkyard or wherever they determined it had to go. Versus only 1.5 accidents that were towed away with lime green. Which points out to me that not only so far are the lime green or fluorescent apparatus getting in significantly less accidents, but that the accidents that they're getting in are less destructive, less damaging. They may be paint trades or a minor fender bender on the side of a highway, someone not paying attention, because it still happens. But there were a lot less severe damage involved incidents with lime green. And then injuries to firefighters. Or injuries in general. 4.6 of these accidents had severe injury, or injuries in general, with red apparatus versus 0.7 with lime green. So not only are we getting into less severe accidents regarding mechanical destruction, if you will, with lime green, but there are less injuries, severe injuries, but I would assume deaths, assuming it's bad when we're talking about things, but I'm led to believe that across the board, lime green is markedly safer, more visible, involved in less accidents, less severe accidents of those accidents, and even less of those severe accidents involving significant injuries, major injuries, or injuries in general. Which leads me to conclude, that lime green, if you're going to pick a color and you want safety, visibility on the side of the highway, whatever it may be, lime green or fluorescent orange or other fluorescent color would be the way to go, but keeping in mind that if you have all red right now, there may be a period, according to studies, that it may take a while for those benefits to appear as the average public, the average person gets adjusted to the new unusual paint scheme of your apparatus. But there are benefits down the road. And that, yes, what color you paint in your apparatus clearly plays a portion or significant part of what accidents you get into, how safe it is, how visible it is. It's not the only factor. You still need to worry about lighting intensity, reflective markings, chevrons, both front and rear, if you will. Bumper, at least on the front. It all plays a part. But we're focusing on paint. And at least what I've found, and admittedly driving down the road, because there are both running around where I live, red and lime green. The lime green stands out. You see it out of your corner of your eye coming down the road, emergent or not. It's a different color. You see red pickup trucks, red semis, red signage on the side of the roads, LED lights for marquees and red cars. There's a lot of red out there. Not fluorescent red either, just there's a lot of red out there on the road. Lime green and fluorescent orange are one of those colors that jump out at you. Lime green, because really, especially fluorescent like lime green, it's really not out there unless it's an ambulance or a fire truck. Nobody is getting their new pickup truck in fluorescent fire engine green. And the fluorescent orange, again, talking about that recognition, the only stuff out there on the highway that's fluorescent orange is construction zones. Traffic cones, construction ahead signs, what have you. Stuff that already in your mind driving down the road is something to pay attention to, right? Because when you see the fluorescent orange, your mind's like, all right, construction zone, slow down, stuff on the road, that kind of thing. That's me making an assumption. I'm clarifying that. But it makes sense, at least in my head. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But cutting this off here, from what I've found, lime green is the way to go, with the caveat that there may be some learning curve, recognition curve, if you go from, a red to a lime green, just because it's a new color.